And we're live. And I'm wearing my glasses. Alright. Just give me a second. I'm gonna pull up my notes real quick. The notifications are finally going out. Hey ladies. Welcome. Okay, there we go. I just want to pull up my notes, ladies. Just give me a second. So, hope everyone is doing well. And today we have a very important topic. We're going to talk about the questions and the things that you should discuss with your partner before you get into a committed relationship, before you move into marriage. And obviously, this is when you've already have to talk with the guy that you're dating. He wants to take you off the market. He wants to go exclusive. He wants a committed relationship with you. Before you say yes, before you're like, oh my God, yes, I want to be your girlfriend. Before you do that, there are some things that you need to discuss and some questions that you need to ask before you even think about letting that man take you off the market. Because what a lot of people don't understand about relationships is that in every relationship, romantic, intimate relationship, there are two people. Usually there are two people involved in that relationship. So I'm not talking about the polygamous relationship. I'm talking about the typical monogamous relationship. There are two people in this relationship. You're not the only person in this relationship. And everybody has expectations. You can't be the only one with expectations, because you got to remember that your partner will also have expectations. And if those expectations are not clear, it's going to lay a foundation of confusion, and it's not going to work, because you're going to end up in a situation where, after you invested so much time and energy into the relationship, you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to realize later down the road that you were both not compatible. It's not working out. And sometimes you have already invested 2 or 3 or even 5, even up to 10 years of your life realizing this, because people think that the only thing that is going to create a stable, healthy relationship is love. And as we all know, ladies, love, you need more than love for a sustainable relationship. Now, marrying for love is something new. I don't want to get into it. This is not something that we have done in history. So the whole marrying for love thing, I believe it's a scam. However, I'm not saying that you can't love your partner, but love cannot be the only reason why you should get married. And when you pay attention and you look at the way men approach relationships in a very logical way. A man would be head over heels in love with you, but if he realizes that he don't want to be his wife or the mother of his children, of course he's going to stick around and waste your time until he finds that person. But usually when you look at the type of women that the men marry, they were very intentional in choosing that person. Hi ladies, you all hit the heart button, send me some likes, leave a comment. All right. Oh, hi, someone said hi, Maria. Hey girl. So yes, you all send some hearts, send some love on the live, so that Facebook will send out more notification. Not Facebook, Instagram. Thank you, ladies. Now, where was I? Yes. When you look at the type of women that men choose to marry, in a lot of cases, it's not because they were head over heels in love with this person. Because I think I saw some kind of, I do not know if it was a study or something like that, but I think it was, oh no, it wasn't a study. It was one of those things on that app, the Bird app, Twitter. Yes. Someone asked the men, are you married to the love of your life? And most of them said no. Most people don't know what love is even, and that is true. And that's a whole other video. So we're not going to get into it here. But they're not going to, most likely, most men don't end up with the woman that they're head over and heels with and they're in so much love with. It's not like that. And if you go back in history and you look at the greatest love story of all time, when you hear the greatest love story of all time, what comes to mind? Because for me, usually it's like, you know, Romeo and Juliet, and it's a union that should have never happened to begin with. Because when you really think about Romeo and Juliet, they were not supposed to be together because both families were enemies, and we all know how that story ended. Okay, it ended very tragically. So, you know, Romeo and Juliet were teenagers, and they got together, and, you know, can you imagine being a parent of one of those kids? Can you imagine how? Because, you know, people, you know, when you think about Romeo and Juliet, most people are focused on the love story and the tragic ending, but nobody thinks about the parents, the community, all those people that were affected by their unaliving. Me and this obsessed cat. Okay, I need to put my glasses on, so I think I'm gonna leave it on for most of the live. Okay, I'm just gonna go over my notes. All right, so I don't want to ramble too much, but at the end of the day, this is not the channel or the community to ask questions like, what is your favorite color and what is your body count? Like, everybody knows that, you know, if you're following me, most of the women, especially if you are a member of my Patreon and you've been a member of my book club, we know that we are very much advanced. We are past that stage of chasing a man, centering man, etc. So anyways, give me a second, let me make this announcement really quick. So on Thursday the 5th of October, I'm going to be having a live meeting, all right, where interactive meeting, obviously, on my Patreon, and I am going to be addressing the whole decenter men movement, and I'm going to share my thoughts and, you know, my opinions based on that. And of course, you know, I'm going to give you ladies some advice that is going to help you on this part of your journey, obviously. So make sure you come to that meeting. I'm looking forward to seeing you ladies on the 5th of October. It's a Thursday, and most likely the meeting is going to be between 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think 7 p.m. is going to be the best time. Okay. All right. So that's my announcement. Let's go back to the notes. All right. So this is not the group or the channel for talking about Dusties, you know, trying to understand, you know, why a Dusty want to split the check at the restaurant. We are past that. I don't even have time for those conversations anymore. I don't want to hear these conversations because I feel like those women are on a different stage in their journey, and we are way past that, and we have to graduate from these conversations at some point. The body count discourse is out of control. Yeah, we don't have time for that. We're not kids, we're not teenagers. Like, I ain't got time for that. Okay, we are past that. So moving on, let's get into this. All right, so I have 7 things here that I'm going to discuss, and these are the things that you have to discuss with your partner before you agree to be his girlfriend or his fiance or his wife. Okay, don't get too excited. You need to have these conversations, and if you're afraid in any way to have these type of conversations, because these conversations are not comfortable conversations to have, but they should be, because this should be the norm. Because I promise you, people, you know, upper class people and upper middle class people, they do have these conversations before they even get into a serious commitment. They do actually have these conversations. Just so you know, if you're not having these conversations, it means that you are not mature enough to be in a healthy, stable relationship. That's all I'm saying. To constantly talk about Dusties is low vibrational. Yes. Yes, it is. All right. So, number 1, especially if you're a young couple, you could be a middle-aged couple, it does not matter. If there are children involved, or you plan to have children, you have to have the conversations about childcare and how you are both going to go about this childcare. Because you may get into this relationship with this person, you may get married and you have a child, and before you know it, you're the one expected to give up everything, give up your career to take care of the child, and maybe you don't want that. I mean, some people do want to be a stay-at-home mom, but what if that's not what you want, right? So So yeah, anyway, basically both of your expectations about child rearing should be discussed. If you don't want to have kids, then that should be discussed as soon as possible. If you want to remain child-free, you need to have these conversations. Do not get into a relationship with someone and then 2 years down the road they want to have kids and you're like, oh no, I don't want kids, I never want kids or anything like that. You need to have this conversation. All right, and you need to have conversation on how you're going to raise the child. Are you going to hire help? Are you going to get a nanny? Are you going to keep your job, your career? Are you going to go back to your career? Because not every woman who is married well is a stay-at-home mom. Because being a stay-at-home mom is a very difficult job, and you do not get a day off from that. At least you get time off from your job, but you do not get time off of being a stay-at-home mom, because it's not just raising the children. It's more, as a lot of things that go into, you know, being a stay-at-home mom. You got to make sure that you got to drop the kids to school. Like, are you the one dropping the kids off to school? You got to have these conversations before you even get in a relationship with this person. Now, this may sound strange to some people, but again, if you know how to plan, because if you are in my community, in my space or whatever, you are past the whole poverty mindset thing. You know, you are past that. All right, so I don't want to get too much into it. Obviously, you know, you can join the Patreon. All right. So yeah, that's one thing you have to talk about, your expectations about kids, how many kids you want, how you're going to raise the kid, etc. Okay. Now, number two, and this is one of the things that is causing a lot of couples to have a lot of issues, because I'm sick and tired of it. Okay, like I'm sick and tired of opening TikTok and hearing women talking about weaponized incompetence, and women are tired, that's why they're divorcing men, because they're doing all the work, blah blah blah. Like, I'm sick and tired of it, because that could be avoided if they both had this conversation before they got into that relationship. Because having these conversations with men, the men that you're dating, is very important, because then you have an idea of how he feels about you as a woman. You have an idea of how he feels about, or his views about, the role of a woman. And if you're dealing with someone that has this warped role about views about the role of woman, where a woman is basically doing all the work and the housekeeping and everything is all her, and then, you know, I hear people, you know, and sometimes I chime in those conversations. I'm like, why don't you guys just hire help or whatever? And I would have women commenting back to me, telling me that, oh, you know, my husband didn't want me to have help. He was like, he made me think that I was lazy. This is why you have to have these conversations, because you do not want to end up in a marriage where you have a husband who expects you to do everything and expect you to basically be a slave. All right. So one of the conversations you have to have before you get into a relationship with someone, and I hope you all are taking notes, is the division of labor or household chores, etc. Now, are you going to hire a housekeeper? Okay. Do you want to work outside of the home? That's a good conversation to have. Okay, because you don't want to end up in a relationship with someone and only to waste your time and to realize that both of you all were not a good match to begin with. All right, because if he expects you to do all the chores and raise the kids and still work outside of the home, that is crazy. That is a very bad deal, and it's better to have a no deal at all than have a bad deal. Nobody deserves to get such a shitty end of the stick. And if you actually care about yourself and you are intentional with your dating, you are going to have these conversations. Because like I said, I swear to God, if I hear another one of those conversations about weaponized incompetence or whatever, I am going to scream, because I'm sick and tired of it. All right? And you got to put all of this in writing, because you got to get a clear idea, a clear vision of what the expectations of your partner are, what his expectations are of you and your role in that relationship. All right? Because you are getting into this relationship and expecting everything to just magically work out. It doesn't work out, because how many times have you been under a Shira's video and you hear someone is in the comments asking Shira, how can I get my man to stop be 50-50 and pay all the bills? That's not going to happen, because what you both agreed on, that is basically that's basically the tone of the relationship. Because if you enter the relationship without having that conversation and not making your expectations clear, then don't try to change it in the middle, because you don't change it. You have to negotiate before you get into the relationship. Hey, Kadisha. Put it all in writing, and if there's a prenup, make sure that's in the prenup. How are you going to divide the chores? Are you both going to be doing the chores yourself, or are you going to hire help, or are you the one that is going to be 100% responsible for the division of the labor in the house? Like, are you going to be the one mowing the lawn, etc.? Because again, once you have an agreement, and I'm telling you how important this is, if all of a sudden they have a different expectation, you can remind them of the deal that you made in the beginning. Because when I met my husband, and my husband asked me to move in with him and asked me to take the relationship to the next step, first thing I told him was, I don't live with men that I'm not married to, and also that I'm not a domestic goddess. Don't expect me to come in the house and do all the housework, because that is not me. So if there's ever a time where he decides to complain, I remind him that, you know what, this is what you agreed with. I did not trick you or anything like that. We had this conversation, and I remind him of the agreement or the deal that we made. Okay, and I haven't had any issues ever since. Exactly, set the tone in the beginning of the relationship. Because I was sick and tired of getting in a relationship and only to realize that, you know, the person I'm in a relationship with expect me to be something that I'm not. You have to have these conversations before you get into these relationships, because I'm telling you, you don't want to be disappointed, and you don't want resentment. All right? So again, remember that you're not the only person in the relationship that has expectations. You are not the only domestic goddess. That's the exact term that I use. You're not the only person in the relationship that has expectation. You need to grow up. Number 3, getting time for yourself. Because a lot of women are tired, exhausted in these relationships, toxic marriages or whatever. And again, most of it is their own doing. Most people's problem in this world are self-inflicted. People are not ready for that. Most of your problems are self-inflicted because of the poor decisions that you made in the past. Okay? So you got to learn how to plan, execute a plan, and you got to learn how to be intentional with your life. So anyways, getting time for yourself outside of work and your marriage. Do you get to go on a girls trip on your own without the kids, without having to deal with the husband? Because that is something that I required prior to coming into this relationship. So that's why sometimes you see me going on a trip. Most of the trips that I go on, I go with my husband. Usually if me and my husband go on a trip, it's usually like a short-term trip for like a weekend or just a few days. We might go to Barbados or something like that. But if you see me traveling, you will usually see me traveling by myself or with my girlfriends. And that is time just for me to get a break from the marriage, because sometimes marriage can get really difficult. And sometimes you can, to be honest, you do get tired of each other. Okay? In November, it's going to be 10 years since I've been married. So are you going to get time? Like, are you going to get time off? Are you going to get a vacation away from your family, raising the kids, your job, your husband? Because that me time is very important, and you need to prioritize that. Okay? Another thing that you base around your time. Do you get to pursue higher education, or maybe you want to get you have a master's, or you want to get a doctorate or whatever? You all know those terms, those university terms. Okay? Do you get the time to do it? Or does your partner have an issue with you going back to school, or with you going to take a course or learn a new skill? You go to do that, and all of a sudden he's sabotaging you, because all of a sudden, maybe he quit his job, or it's always some bullshit, because a lot of women are struggling with this. And this is the type of conversation you need to have with that person, because you don't want to be with someone that just take up so much of your time, and every time you try to better yourself, they sabotage you. Okay, so are you going to have that time where you can study and you can get help with raising the kids if you decide to have kids? Okay, or is it going to be a problem? Because in a lot of cases, a lot of women, it becomes a problem because, you know, the husband has an issue, or he started accusing you of abandoning your responsibilities. Is that going to be a problem? Because this has been a huge issue for a lot of people in relationships. For example, and I'm going to give you an example. If you watch My 600-Pound Life, when those women take time for themselves and time to focus on themselves and focus on becoming healthy and focus on losing weight and, you know, turning over this new leaf in their life, a lot of times it becomes a problem and the man disappears. Just because you decide to take that time for you, to do something for you that only benefits you, and in the long run it will benefit them in the long run, but they are so selfish. All right, so you got to know the type of person that you're getting yourself involved with. A lot of men are selfish, and you have to have these conversations so you will know exactly who you're dealing with. Okay, another thing is, and this is not really a question, but this is something that I recommend that you do before you get in a relationship with someone. You need to go on a trip with that person and see how they behave on a trip, how they behave on vacation, how they behave in a foreign country. Doing that is a test, and it can tell you a lot about that person before you get into a relationship with them. Because the last thing you want is someone who doesn't have a passport or doesn't want to travel with you, don't want to go on trips, they want to be the homebody. You know, if going on trips is important to you, or, you know, they go on a trip with you and they're acting all cheap, they don't want to, they're not enjoying themselves, they're complaining the whole time, they're being cheap. The way people behave on vacation can tell you a lot about them. So this is not really a question, but this is something that I recommend. You need to go on a trip with this person and see how they behave on that trip, how they talk about money, how they talk, the type of accommodations that they choose, etc. All right, number 5. Now this is a big one. Money. You have to discuss money. I think I should go put my light on. Y'all give me a second. I'll be right. Yes, behavior on travel. Yeah. So number 5, money. You have to discuss money. I can't tell you how many people get in relationships, get married, and never have that money discussion ever. We did a whole series on the Patreon about how to hide money from your husband. If you're interested in that, you need to join the Patreon so that you can have access to those videos, those meetings. Okay, we did an entire series on that, about how to hide money from your husband. And basically it's all about learning about finances, becoming financially literate, having a nest egg, all of that stuff. And you know it was a pretty good book, because I did learn a few stuff from that book. Yeah, but anyways, you gotta talk about money. You gotta have that discussion. You're gonna discuss how the bills are gonna be paid, who's gonna be paying the mortgage, who's gonna be paying the bills, where's the money going to be invested, are you gonna open up a trust, are you gonna take out life insurance? All of that stuff, you have to have a conversation. You know, how are you gonna budget the money? You need to have these conversations before, because you never know. You could be getting in a relationship with someone who is really bad with money, or someone who is in crippling debt. Because when you marry someone and they are in debt, their debt becomes your debt. I'm sorry, it is what it is. Their money problems become your money problem. Because, you know, in that series we talk about, you know, women in marriages where they have husbands that are just blowing money, throwing money away, buying these expensive toys, etc. Like, I'm telling you, you need to be very mindful about someone's relationship with money, because that will give you an idea of how the marriage is going to be. When you do get married, you will understand. The way someone treats money, the way they think about money, the way they handle money, the way they manage money is basically a foresight onto how the marriage is going to be. I don't know, like I feel like I'm using my words wrong, but you all get the gist, yeah? Also, you gotta please learn about money management and become financially literate. I'm telling you, a rich man is not going to respect you if you are not financially if you're not financially literate. If you do not know how to manage money, you do not know how to. I don't know, like you gotta learn. You gotta know about money, ladies. You gotta learn financial literacy. There are so many resources online, free resources. All right, so this is very important, and you need to have the conversation because you need to know what you're working with. You need to know how much money he has in his bank account. You need to know if he has investments. You need to know about his portfolio. You need to know what his plans are. You need to know if he has assets. These are the kind of things that you need to have, and both of you need to come together and have that conversation. All right. Yes, I do recommend a budget. If you struggle with managing money, you need to have a budget, okay, so that you would see where your money is going and and you can have an idea of how to allocate your money. All right, so yes, I believe in budgets. Okay, so I already told you all this is not to how to get a man to call you, how to get a man to text you, because if I was doing that, trust me, I would be getting a lot of views, I would have a lot of followers, and this just goes to show how most people are not serious about life. And this is the reason why we have all these failed marriages, these failed relationships, and all these L's that these women are taking online and posting it online. Okay, people are just not ready to be in relationships because people are very immature and childish. Like, I'm not the one to come and ask how to get a man to text you. I'm showing you how to be successful in this life. Okay, so don't come and ask me silly questions. Go to another level up space or someone else and have that conversation with them, not me. Okay, anyways, I just have to make that disclaimer. That series about hiding money from your husband is available on the Patreon. Now, number 6 is very important, and if you grew up in working class and you grew up in poverty, you will not understand this. However, if you've been following me, you will know how important this is, because you're not just supposed to be leveling up. You're supposed to be leveling up your social class. Again, I'm not the one for you to come and ask where to find rich men. I'm not going to tell you to put on a heels and a bodycon dress and some lipstick and go sit at the bar. That's not what I'm going to do. You're going to learn the real work, okay? So, number 6, you got to talk about your social obligations. Both of your social obligations. Okay? Are you going to be the only one networking and maintaining important connections? Or is your husband going to be doing it with you also? Is he going to be the homebody, the one that goes to work, and on Friday he goes to drink at the bar with his boys, or on weekends he goes fishing or whatnot? But you're the one that doing most of the work. Like you're the one that is sitting on the board of the charity organization. You're the one that is hosting. You're the one that is managing the calendar, because that's another thing that you got to learn how to do, because that is a duty of a wealthy wife. You all want to marry wealthy, you got to become wealthy. You have to literally become it and adopt the habits of these people. These people, they have a calendar, they manage the calendar. Usually the woman manage the calendar for the family, because the women are all about community. Women are very good at holding a community together. Okay, so you got to talk about your social obligations. Are you required to go to all of his company dinners? Who is going to his company dinners with him? Because I've seen this with my own eyes, where men would carry someone else to their company dinner and not their wives. I've seen that happen right here in my country. I don't know if that's people can have that kind of audacity in the United States, but I've seen it. I've seen it, because they would much rather take someone else to their company dinner to mingle with their colleagues, etc., than their wife, because their wife at home don't go anywhere, doesn't have any hobbies, etc. You know, she said she gets jealous when her husband goes on business trip. Like, you don't want to be that person, okay? Because if you're that person, you and your man are not going to get anywhere in life. I'm just saying, right? Who is going to pay for the club memberships? That's another thing that you both have to discuss before you get into a committed relationship with this person. And as a matter of fact, honestly, I don't feel comfortable discussing this outside of the Patreon. But, you know, it's Free Game Friday, I guess, okay? And finally, let's talk about education. Because this is someone that you're going to start a family with. Or if you already have a family, you're going to combine your family with this person. So, you know, some people do remarry after a divorce. Some people have kids from previous marriages, etc. But especially if it's your first marriage and you do plan to have a family, etc., you got to discuss your my husband is doing some yard work right outside my window and it's so distracting. Anyways, but I'm gonna wrap up. Sorry about that. Finding rich men at the bar is so elementary in 2019. Girl, it's more like 2017 or 2018, girl. But anyways, yes, we have to move past that, because a lot of people are out here giving the same advice. You're not seeing any growth from these people at all. No evolution in their messages. It's just the same thing, like they're stuck in some kind of time loop. We can't be out here doing the same thing, like, because if we're out here applying 2019 advice in 2023, then how far do you think that's going to take you? Yeah. So anyways, let's talk about education. You got to find out how he feels about education, because you do not want someone who doesn't really value education. Okay, the conversations that you're going to have with this person is how you're going to educate the kids. Are you going to homeschool? Are you going to put them into private school? Are you going to put them out there with their shots in public school? Are you going to be saving for their, what do you call it, their university education or college, as you will say in the United States? These are the conversations that you have to have, because someone, I can't remember the name of the show, but someone posted a clip in the paid group on Facebook, okay, the secret group. Yeah, someone posted a clip in there, and there was basically a couple. I can't remember the name of the show, y'all. I don't even know if it was 90 Day Fiancé or whatever. I don't know. But the woman wanted to get the kids in a specific school, because having the kids in that school is going to bring so much opportunity to those children, because your child's future can change, or basically your child's future depends on the type of school that you send them to. So again, if you're on this level up journey and you've been working on yourself, you know, obviously you will want to have good things for your children, because you are building a legacy. Yes. So I wouldn't want my kids in private school at all. One of the reasons why I didn't want to have kids is because I used to reconsider it, you know. But I used to be like, you know what, I don't think I want to do this, because at that point in my life, I wasn't financially able to give my child the opportunities that I would want them to have. So you know, this is very important, because your child education is important, but the type of school that you put them in is also important, because you got to remember, when wealthy people send their kids to school, they don't just send them to school for an education. They send them there for to network with other kids from wealthy families. So when they grow up, those kids are going to be their friends. If you are friends with wealthy people, you are going to be wealthy, and you will stay wealthy. It's that simple. So this is why they're very particular of where they send their kids. So are you just going to send your kids off to public school? Because I wouldn't. So that's a conversation you both have to have. And I think that that's number 7. That's the last one. If you have any, you can type it in the comments and we can discuss it. But again, you have to discuss your expectations going forward and make sure you negotiate so both of you get what you want. And never take a bad deal, never compromise. I seen a couple here a couple years ago that broke up because they were engaged and they were about to get married, but they couldn't come to agreement with the prenup, and they broke up. And sometimes that may happen. You might have to break up with that person. You may have to lose that person. But I would rather lose someone than get a bad deal and not get what I want. That's how seriously I take myself, and this is how I always center myself. If I'm not getting a good deal, I'm not going to take it. Yes, because networking begins in school for upper middle class and higher. Yes, that is a fact. Kadisha said they make connections there, and you see those connections extended to the working world all the time. Absolutely. That's why they can get out of college, go straight into an internship, and before you know it, they're already earning 6 figures at a very young age. What to do if we suggest to travel? So, okay, we suggest a travel to a man and he doesn't offer to pay for the ticket. The ticket? Girl, if he asks him to book, they'll ask him to book it. Because, okay, if you buy your ticket, is he going to pay for the hotel room? Because, I don't know. I wasn't going to go. I'm just saying I wasn't going to go because I've had offers like that before and I said no. Because if I'm going to go on a trip with you, the reason why I'm asking you to go on a trip is because it's a test. It's a test to see how he acts from start to finish. If from the beginning he already expects you to pay for your own ticket, I don't know. I don't know, girl. So yes, you must discuss your expectations. But yeah, have a conversation. Travel to a man or with a man. Are you traveling to him or with him? That's a good question. Oh, I thought you said, I thought you meant travel with a man. Okay, travel to, girl, why are you traveling to a man and he's not paying for the ticket, girl? I would never do that. I would never, ever, ever do that. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. I don't even want to take an Uber to I don't even want to pay an Uber to a man. He has to call my Uber, so girl, no. All right, so you must have these conversations so that you are not surprised or disappointed later on. And you know, too many people rush into these commitments, thinking things will magically work out itself. It does not. That's not how life works. And love is not enough. Love is not all. What's the name of that song? Love is all you need. That's a lie. That's a lie. Do not subscribe to that at all. Okay? Because I made it clear to my husband that I wasn't going to be a slave. It's never going to happen. And again, remember to never accept a bad deal. So that sounds like a bad deal to me. Your situation, what's her name? You know, the guy wants you to pay your own ticket. That sounds like a bad deal to me. And I'd rather not have a deal than a bad one. So I would rather stay home. Okay? Hi, Tanika. Right, VIP, a child's environment is who he becomes. That is true. That is absolutely true. Late, but I made it. Girl, we almost wrapping up, girl. I mean, with a man, don't go on a vacation with someone who is not going to provide for you. Okay? I mean, and listen, the book that we read, Never Split the Difference, they say never compromise, you know, because, you know, usually the old me would, you know, compromise and maybe buy my own ticket just as long as he's paying for, you know, the hotel or whatnot. But I don't even want to buy my own ticket if I'm going on a trip with a whole ass man, a man that is going to be laying up with me and expecting me to sleep with him on the trip. So no, it's a no for me. He don't like you if he's not paying. Exactly. Yeah, like the old me would have tried to compromise or something like that, but you know, and this is why the book club is important, because you know we learn how to negotiate. So you need to negotiate. You're gonna be like, hey babe, you want us to have a good time on this trip, because I feel like, you know, if I buy this ticket, um, I will be on a trip and I'm gonna be worrying about how I'm gonna make the money back or something like that. You know, you gotta tell him that, like, learn how to negotiate. You all need to join the book club. Like, I keep saying that all the time, but you all don't listen, because you know, when I see these type of questions, that's when I know who's who's behind the scenes with me and who is not. Yeah, so if he's not covering all the costs, stay home. He don't like you. Yeah, I agree. Love is never enough in this matrix. I don't know what some women be thinking. Yeah, because those same women, I'm sorry, like, you know, y'all know my nose, but anyways, some women will literally, you know, be like, oh, because I love him, they are just spoiling a man, spending money on a man. You're doing all of that for someone, and that person don't even want to buy a plane ticket. They don't want to buy you dinner. Like, girl, And this is why I don't like to have these conversations, because I feel like we are past that level, right? This is why most of my content, I put it on Patreon. I barely ever get on here. This is something that I'm doing. This is a new thing that I'm doing, where I'm coming here every Friday and having these conversations with you ladies. But I would much rather have these conversations in the group, behind the scenes, because out here, it's the same BS. How can I get a man to take me out to dinner and not coffee? I'm tired. Let's get past that, okay? If you're still at that level and you want to elevate from that level, you need to stop listening to them other people and come here and join our community. Or you can stay over there and deal with over there. Ask them other people that you all are following and listening to. All right, so never bring up the travel again. And if he does say you're not sure if you can go, if you press, ask him to get a fully refundable ticket for you. Okay. Because it's not, listen, it's very easy to cover the cost of someone else on a trip. That's something that I've done before in the past. And I didn't sleep with none of them people. Because usually when I'm booking a hotel room, I'm usually traveling solo. But I will always book for 2 people, you know, like, always put like 2 guests. Like, they will ask you how many guests, I will always put 2, just in case someone wants to join me on the trip last minute. Yeah. So I don't know what let me tell you something. Men spend money on what they value. Because if I can fund someone else's trip, because I basically fund my sister's trip to Europe, and everybody knows Europe is not cheap. If I can do that, and I'm not making American money, I'm in a third world country, then these men out here have no excuse. I'm sorry, they don't. Come to Maria for the holistic level up. Thank you, girl. Hey, Erica. So yeah, if you're really serious about this, because at some point, ladies, we have to get past the stage of negotiating a coffee date for a dinner date. We have to get past that stage. And I know I may sound harsh right now, but I mean, it's the truth, y'all. 2023 is almost done. We are not heading into 2024 with the same BS. Okay? I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, I'm going on a trip with this guy, but he wants me to pay for my ticket. I don't want to hear that, because, like, if first of all the answer is no, you do not go. It's that simple. I've had those offers before. One thing I'm going to tell you, ladies, just in case you're unsure about something. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. If it doesn't feel good in your spirit, do not do it. If it makes you uncomfortable, don't do it. If you have to come and ask about it, and again, I'm not being mean to the lady that asked, because that's a good question. Because there may be newcomers that may listen to this on YouTube. But if it makes you feel uncomfortable, don't do it. Never do anything that you are not comfortable with. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. If someone come and ask you for money, even if it's your sister or your best friend or your mother, and you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it. Stop doing things that are uncomfortable. just so that you can accommodate someone else. Because most people are not going to do that for you. Exactly. Just move on and don't entertain coffee. If you want to entertain coffee dates, that's fine. I don't even talk about coffee dates anymore. Like I made a video about 2 or 3 years ago about coffee dates here on YouTube, and some random guy took my video and basically put clips of my video in his video, basically bashing me, talking about, oh, these women are gold diggers. I don't even know what he said, but I know it was negative because his goons came after, like they were commenting under that video for months. But if it's one thing about me, I don't go back and forth. I'm not going to turn off comments. I'm not going to reply. And if I do reply to anybody, I would say, thanks for watching. I don't do the back and forth. So if you think you're going to come here and troll me, you pick the wrong one. I don't care. And this is one of the reasons why I don't want to go live on YouTube, because it would be so distracting. For me, I feel like it would be so distracting, like, you know, when the trolls come and the ladies are in the comments defending the trolls. Like, no, like, I don't want that. So, like, I don't have time for it. Like, you all have to learn how to ignore people, because if they don't get the attention, they're going to go away. Neville Goddard said, if you want something to go away, you have to remove your attention from it. It's that simple, and it will go away. Trust and believe it will go away, whatever it is. If you want it to go away, remove your attention from it, because it's your attention and your emotions that is creating reality. Block and delete, heat cheap, it can only go downhill. Exactly, trust. Yeah, because if I can fund a trip for someone for 3 weeks in Europe, then he can do it for you. It is what it is. Okay, and that trip included accommodation, food and drink, and activities. So what, come on. And this is why I can, because sometimes I used to feel like I didn't know how to answer those questions. But when I realized that, you know what, I took my friend out to dinner, okay, and I would spend like $200, sometimes even up to $300 on my friend at a dinner at a restaurant here in Trinidad, of all places, because everybody knows restaurants in Trinidad are not cheap. But, you know, usually if you go into a restaurant, like, you know, in Trinidad, just make sure you have at least about 100, and the equivalent about 120 or 150 US dollars minimum. Yeah. So anyways, if I can do that for a person, why can't he take you out to dinner? Because you all are dating men that is beneath your status. Because I talked about this last week, where I talked about, you know, dating you know, men, lower class men. Because there are some men, because of, you know, their low status in life, they do not know how to plan. And I told you before, if you want to know if a man is a good candidate, when he asks you out on a date, just say, oh yes, I would love to, you know, and don't give any suggestions. Because this is how it's supposed to go. He's supposed to be asking you what you like. You know, that was a conversation is supposed to be, because this is my experience. This is what I'm used to. He's going to ask me what I like. Do you like Italian? What is your favorite cuisine or whatnot? And guess what? He's going to be looking for Italian restaurants, because he knows that that's what I like before he takes me out on a date, yeah? So, and he will make the reservation, and then we'll meet up. He will confirm with me on the day of. Let's say, you know, dinner is at 5 or 7 p.m. Like, usually like around lunchtime, he would send me a text and confirm. And then I'll be like, yeah, sure, yes, we're still on or whatnot. And then we show up to the date. We have good food, we have a good time. He already knew that I like Italian food, because that's why he picked that restaurant. So if you're dealing with a man that do not know how to pick up the phone and call a restaurant and make a reservation, okay, not a walk-in restaurant with paper napkins on the table. A proper restaurant with cloth napkins, not no damn paper napkins. and valet, okay, that's a good sign. This is someone who knows their way around certain circles, okay? So if you are struggling to get a guy to take you on a dinner date, because dinner dates are the bare minimum, ladies. I'm sorry, it's the bare minimum. I can't believe we're sitting here still talking about coffee dates, but here we are, okay? And I swear to God, this is the last time I'm addressing this, okay? So anyways, dinner dates are the bare minimum. It is the bare minimum. So you need to level up, girl. You need to level up, okay? Come and join the book club. Check the link in the description. Join the Patreon. And come and get your life together. Book a consultation if you have to. Come and get your life together. Because there is no way in 2023 that we're still having these conversations. But here we are. So, any more questions, ladies? Because I pretty much... Okay, let me read this question. The issue with these questions come from women who don't establish their standards from day one. You set the tone and the rules. He should already know your expectations if you're entertaining him. Thank you, Melania Trump. I like that name. Thank you, Miss Trump. But I agree 100%. I agree with everything you said, because that's the truth. That's a fact. So again, you gotta ask yourself, why is your standard so low? Because this is deeper than, a coffee date or a dinner date. This is deeper. This is a self-concept issue. I made a video sometime last year. Was it last year? Earlier this year? I can't remember, where we talk about self-concept. If you were in that meeting, you can go back and rewatch it. Or if you're not on the Patreon, you can go sign up and search it and, listen to it. But this is a self-concept issue. This is a self-issue. This is something that is on a conscious level. Subconscious level, sorry. So there needs to be some inner work, okay? Miss Trump. No, sorry, Mrs. Trump. Okay? So, yeah, that's a good comment. Tanika said, join the book club if you're not in it already, ladies. Make no excuses. It's a great investment. Thank you for saying that. It really is. So anyways, ladies, if no one doesn't have any questions, I think I can go ahead and end the live here. Yeah, it's been almost an hour. I mean, I can stick around for a couple more minutes if anyone has any questions. But other than that, I pretty much said what I wanted to say. I hope that you ladies learned something from this live. How to join the book club. Okay, if you are watching this on right now, when the live is done, you can go to my bio and click the link in the description and sign up. Click the link in my bio. If you're watching this on YouTube, you just have to go and in the description, and the link will be there. You sign up. You sign up to the Patreon, and you sign up for the study group tier. Okay, because that's the tier, the middle tier. That's the tier that is going to give you access to the book club. Will this be saved? Yes, it will be saved. I'm going to post this. I may post this replay on Sunday, because I'm going to be so busy after this, and I'm not even going to be at home tomorrow. So I'll post this on Sunday. This replay on Sunday. Sorry, I'll post it on Sunday. I can't post it tonight. She said, have a wonderful weekend. Thanks, girl. All right, ladies. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you all next week here. And you'll have a good week, okay? And I'll see you all on Sunday for our book club. The book club meeting starts at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. We've been doing this for 3 years, and it has been great. Okay, we owe all that growth to the 3 years of that book club, because you all already know. Okay, ladies, you all have a good one. Okay, bye bye.